Well, in that case, Matt Trav, I don't know that saying let's talk about why we don't wear Indian headdress. I don't know how that's a racist remark. They took it as racist, but how's it racist? What I think a lot about is Galileo. Galileo was locked in a tower for questioning the accepted dogma of the day. I think people have always spoken up, but I think people speak up more than ever because it's easy. Back in, say, the 60s, freedom riders got killed. The FBI watched the film Mississippi Burning. The FBI had to go down there and try to investigate and try to solve what the hell was going on. People who were doing desegregation tours for Martin Luther King Jr. and so on were getting killed. You're not going to get killed today, if you... Because it is the accepted position of our society at this point, which is good. I'm not speaking out against that in any capacity. But I'm saying that you're actually at more risk coming up with a statement like, let's talk about why we feel this way and how we got here, than you are just expounding on what is already the accepted truth. Most of this for a good reason, of course, but it's just the idea of that even asking the questions has somehow become forbidden. And it's not forbidden across the board, but it's forbidden on certain topics where we're like at a... Where we're drawing the line is yet to be seen, but the line is there that we're going to say... This time we're going to be uncritical because we wanted to join the group, and I really should be getting bloaters.
Let's do it. There's a plague bloater.
God dang it. These zombies are... Hitting these stuff is annoying. Apparently it's different where you go in the country, though. Well, I've talked about this with Corey, too. Like, I'm from Ohio, and I had a black girlfriend through high school, which doesn't mean anything, but she was my high school girlfriend, and we just didn't experience it. I wrestled, we were black and white. TJ McRae was a kid, well, I use his full name, doesn't matter. He was our heavyweight. I was friends with him. He was friends with everybody. They had a family. They were interracial. Nobody ever cared or even thought about it. This is a very mixed suburban neighborhood. We got all kinds here. We got Latino, Latinx, that politically correct term for Latino that Latinos don't use because it's grammatically incorrect and they don't give a shit about that stuff. It's only American, like very few American Latinos who think that that's where we're going. Anyway, it wasn't a big deal, but he told me, because he works in Virginia, that it is like racist. Like, he does see racism. He said, like, at his job, what happens is he works in a technically complicated field. He's in energy. That there's the woman there is a black woman. She's the manager. And like, shit went wrong at work, and instead of everybody going to her, they looked to him. And he said it's because, like, he's like the white guy, so he's supposed to know it over her. And he's like, so, and that's south of the Mason-Dixon line. So I think there's a very real... See, Ohio was never a slave state. I'm not saying Ohio didn't have racism. Every state in the Union had racism. Still does. Okay? But there's a big difference between, some of the crimes that were perpetrated and what happened here. We were an abolitionist state just like Pennsylvania from the beginning. We fought in the Union. We didn't have segregation. And again, I'm not saying this place isn't without racism. It's not like that. It's just, at least in our area, granted, it's like 98% white. And it's, in places down south, it's a lot more mixed. Here it's not. And obviously, I don't know enough about these issues as far as I only have one perspective on them. And I know that that's a big part of the debate. I'm fine with that. I think that that's reasonable. I can't speak for things I don't know. But he talked about how like it's weird because in our area we didn't experience that, and it wasn't a part of our life at all. Like we had black friends, we had black families, and we never thought about it. Latino family, Asian families, just wasn't a big deal, and it wasn't treated like that. But he said like in Virginia, like you can see it, it's there, it's there. And if you experience that, of course, I can see how people would feel very uncomfortable. I feel very uncomfortable with that shit. I completely, am against that crap. Of course I am. I believe in this country. I believe that it's great because of diversity and the fact that we have equal citizenship and you're guaranteed certain birthrights. And that doesn't mean black, white, brown. It means whatever. It means you're an American.
Ray wants me to say no.
But having not seen it like that, I have a different position on it, I guess. I like her jacket, though. There is some validity to it. But they need to also, I think, when we talk about this, see that there's validity on the other side. When I say that there was a civil rights bill passed in 68 and an Equal Rights Act passed in 69 and a 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, then I'm not too sure what... And we have affirmative action, then I get confused. But again, I haven't lived or seen apparently some of the more troubled, and like very dark elements of it. So anyone who speaks Spanish knows that, right? I saw, and it was freaking Newsweek, which is super woke, and it was like, the only people not using Latinx are Latinos. Like, they don't have any idea what the hell we're even talking about, Latinx. My friend in Virginia says it's all stars and bars past a certain road. Stars and bars. What's that mean, Maltroff? You can see it one way, and I say that in a general sense. And by the way, I'm not like speaking out against the South. I think the South... I wish that, despite how dark the history is, I think that it's wrong how much demonization is happening. Not to the crimes, but to the culture of the South. Like, I saw Ryan Reynolds, like, had a marriage at a plantation house. And he's like, I'll never be forgiven for this. What I have done is irredeemable and wrong, and I'll live with it for the rest of my life. And I'm just not so sure I understand why that is, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm completely wrong. We're saying it's wrong to judge other people's culture, and the culture of slavery was, we all know it was immoral, it was repugnant, it was abhorrent. And there was a massive war at a great loss of life fought for it, right? But you can't tell me every single element of the South was bad. And I don't mean, again, the relationship with race, not at all. I mean the Southern Belle, the Southern gentleman, their sort of chivalry that they had, their basis in faith and family and so on. Like, some of these are not like totally, I just feel like we should at least say, hey, that was a part of their history. That was a part of their history. Southern hospitality, right. Like, there's good people in the South. So I'm just saying there's good people in the South, and I don't think that this sort of, like, uniform condemnation of the American South is fair in any regard. Treason pulls. It does take damage, Alatros. Rebel flags. You see idiots fly rebel flags here, Alatros. Or, sorry, Maltroff. It's pretty rare, to be honest, but you do see it, and I always just think, you're stupid as fuck. I mean, you got a right to do what you're gonna do, but literally our city park across from our courthouse It's called Memorial Park, and it's in honor of the boys in blue and the regiment that we sent to go fight in the Union. And Ohio is a Union state, so what the hell's the rebel flag doing flying here? Because we didn't fight for the rebels, we fought for the Union. Like my cousin fought for the Union, Dal Tucker. You know, it's like I don't understand it. Some of you might remember that a few years ago when the Charlottesville shooting, I think, happened, when that crazy person shot up that
Where is she?
diplomatically. Grace actually asked us to give it to you. I guess I'll be diplomatic about it.
Huh. Well, I'm glad at least one of that troop of liars has a conscience.
Hopefully she'll join us soon.
Cents will get you the same amount of coffee. None.
I guess so. I've never heard that one before. I can't even remember what I was talking about, but I do think it's stupid. The freaking flag rallies. Some of you guys might remember the flag rallies that happened. They were stupid as hell. I was a manager at Pizza Trademark when they were going on.
Let's see what we can do.
Okay.
And that one felt gross, of all of them. Like, I'm not woke and stuff, and I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm totally on the side of that. It felt gross.
Stone unturned.
It's like something really bad had happened. Those people were killed in cool blood for no other reason than the color of their skin, and we all know that. And it was wrong from top to bottom, and getting rid of the Confederate flag was not like a symbol of defeat. It was just time. It was time. It's time to move on. It's been 200 years. It's time to, you know, it's getting to be 200 years. It's been 150 years. It's time to move on. The things that flag stands for aren't the things that America stands for. And people saw it as like, you're taking away our freedom. So I was working a shift, and this huge segment of cars, like every bit of 30, 40 cars, rolled in across the street, and every one of them had massive, massive Confederate flags up. And they went on a big rally. And I just thought, you stupid bastards. You stupid bastards. Do you not see that our park in the middle of the city is for the Union and for the boys in blue? What do you think they would think if they saw a giant rebel flag flying?
Time to start digging around.
That was an especially, I feel like, stupid time period in America. But you know what? It was stupid, but in the end, it turned out okay. They changed the state flag, and they had their little rallies, and then they disappeared. And that's the thing about it. That's like the way it was. And that's how they're trolls. In a large way, I think that these people are like trolls. Like, KKK's been around a long time. We all know it. It's been dying. It's been dying. It had a resurgence in the 90s. It was basically killed off. And now it's like all these different sects that hate one another. And it's like 15 bumpkins. They exist. There's no doubt they exist. And they're a problem. But they were dying because you ignore trolls. Nobody wants to join them anymore. Nobody wants to be a part of that shit. And then when they started getting all this national attention, it's like, oh, they're back. It's official. All we needed to do is denounce them, call them stupid, get rid of them. And now they're getting exactly what they want, which is the media paying attention to them. 2 cents on everything. 2 cents on everything and permanently on film, so I can be called a hypocrite and a liar. Okay, could have gone a little better. Yeah, the Pharaoh through the east. They don't understand how languages are different. That Southern hospitality, guys. This car take it does. So, yeah, Charlottesville. Charlottesville church shooting. Like, nobody felt good about that. I remember we were really upset about it here. Like, in general, people, I think, across America were upset about that one. But then, like, a week later, there's a big flag rally or some shit. Who participates in that? I'm not trying to like clutch my pearls because it's an easier thing to be holier than thou in. But there's just something basically stupid in it, feels like. I mean, it's not hard to have opinions change. Well, my opinions have changed. Yeah, I mean, I'm 29. Obviously, my opinions are different than when I was 29. Or yes. I'm 29, they're different than when I was 20. And fuck, they're different than they were 6 months ago. Look at COVID. The World Health Organization said there's no human-to-human transmission, because I guess that's an opinion, too. I mean, I would probably punch my 22-year-old self in the mouth. The 22-year-old that was, like, going into my junior year of college and thought that I'd basically figured it all out because a bunch of professors had filled my head with everything and anything compared to myself today is pretty different, but I guess not too different. The shit that I was getting taught there. People don't think that's real, but it's real. It's very real. This place is always really bad with zombies. Thankfully, they buff shotguns. I can see some of your opinions have changed since I started watching. I mean, that's what we do, right? We live life, and I think you can hold two different ideas in your head at the same time. I don't think that's too difficult to do. And to get more information and change opinion. There's no reason being obstinate about things. I like to bring gore, hordes to enclaves, and hope they take them out. I've managed to do that once, but I can see why you like it, Alatros. I just think it's tough. It's tough to get the jug to like go in and go after you. Especially on Nightmare, though. That's always fun, because I hate the NPCs in Nightmare. I try to keep my mind open, but there's some shit that I do on a, like, but then I think there's principles, and then on some level that means you have to fundamentally disagree with stuff. And there are definitely some things fundamentally disagree with. I think we're all there. Works for me. What's your strategy then, Altros? How do you manage to get that every time? This trekker is gonna be done. It's like these playthroughs are officially repositories of whatever shit was on my mind and whatever incriminating information I let leak when ranting over the internet about the most foolish thing you can do. Damn, took the door right off. Alright, fuck you. You gotta pay for taking that door down. Oh, we're sick. Oh, we're sick and we're hurt. Okay, we need to retreat. I'm out. This is gonna be the playthrough. I can't lose Chavez. Okay, we'll be good now. As long as there's not a feral. Also, we're getting deeper into Heartland, so just in general, we're getting more and more infected. I think if you, looking at the other side of the argument and really try to empathize with their point of view is better for everyone. I really try not to just be dismissive of anything. Well, I think that makes you smart. I think it makes you wise. I think what you're saying is pretty much the key.
Don't wanna go out like this.
Like, I even listen to the shit that I really disagree with, so I am with you. I will read it, and I will listen to it, and I will disagree with it. I'll not only disagree with it, I'll find it fucking stupid, but I will read it and listen to it. And I don't want it canceled, and I don't want it gone.
I hope it's okay I came here. I don't normally do this.
Like, the whole... I don't even want to go into it. It just gets me upset. I've learned to live with it, but I don't even want to talk about it.
No more of that.
Well, we survived. We got some building material, not a lot. We're actually out of beds. Tempted to do Spartan beds. That way at least we have, everybody has a bed. Did we get that achievement, by the way? Okay, I think we're starting to pivot again, thank God. We were only on maybe the most sensitive subject in America right now for an episode or two. Kill 25 Blood Plague Juggernauts in Heartland. Nope, that's the one we popped. And we got Isaac. I know we're filming an episode right now, guys. We're trying to dig into our achievements as we speak, so talk you through a call for backup. No. Oh, that one's easy. I need to go ahead and get that done. Playing alone, that's the one we're working on. Plague Doctor, that one's gonna take a long time. Contact Blood Plague by using a Blood Plague consumable. We can worry about that later. Recruit 8 different survivors in a single game at Heartland. We have 8 people. We have 8 people. I don't get it. I'm sure Reba's gonna become a person though, so. It's like why I like watching this stream though. Oh, the rants. Well, thank you, man. That's why I like having you here. Thanks for being here, as always, Matroff. Have we not? Wait, somebody's here. Who is this? Aren't we supposed to put that facility mod? Yeah, because we got to make, whatchamacallits. I think it goes in here. I believe, yes. There we go. We can start making bloater bombs now. I want Reba because I want to cook.
You have all the knowledge you need to take on the gauntlet of plague walls.
So we do have the last mission. Good.
I recommend stocking up on plague busters and plenty of cure.
In the more direct approach to sensitive topics, you tip closer than most.
Time to rest and resupply between each assault. Good luck to you.
I think what's going to happen with that, Maltroff,
Gonna be okay.
is if we don't figure it out, if it doesn't become a cultural thing, like Germans are really, this is my 2 cents again, they're really, really big on privacy. And that has good to it, it has bad on it, but the point is, it's a cultural thing. It's not a written law. They have laws to protect it, but culturally, they're really sensitive to privacy. Can we become really sensitive to the idea that people generally have different ideas on things? Why we hold elections and so on and so forth, but especially in social media. Twitch is obviously not on my spectrum when it comes to, you know, politics. AOC is she is the starlet of this platform and the people who believe in what she espouses, which is not where I'm at. And I think what will happen is when you talk about tiptoeing closer to the edge, is if we don't figure out how to do it, what we're just going to do is continue what's been happening that Obama warned about in his departing address, like keep going into our own bubbles. And granted, Twitch is okay about it. Twitch is like less severe than some like Twitter, but they're also really shitty about it in the fact that they definitely let you know that that's not where they're at with things. And I think what will happen is you're going to have places like Rumble and Parler And all the conservatives are going to run over there. And there'll be the same thing for the video games and BitChute. And these will become the platforms. I want to cook as well. Yeah, we need Ruba. Wherever she is. Diane. Oh, Diana's here. Hell yeah, Diana is. She might pop her achievement. And then you'll have the other segments, and they'll be of the other spectrum.
I've been on my own for a long time. You're the first people who,
Here's why I think that's bad.
I wanna actually
The more
think I'd like
ridiculous things that come from the right, and the more ridiculous things that come from the left will be acceptable within those bubbles. So where you get pushback from this in these platforms, on these platforms, the shit that's ridiculous for the left. Or, sorry, for the right. The shit that's, like, actually bad. Like, the whole rebel flag rallies and, like, you know, we still need to be flying that flag or whatever. So the stuff that's kind of stupid, you get pushback on, for good reason. Now, I wish that people who espouse, like, communism and such would also be rejected, but... Oh God, you're not supposed to talk about that thing that killed millions of people. Anyway, so what happens, I mean, is I think most people are generally in the middle on the spectrum. And there's pushback whenever you say things that are ridiculous. We talked about, like, isolation. You talked about social media, Maltroff, and people buying their own shit because they don't have to go to the public square and have people say, hey, that's bullshit. You know, she doesn't even go here. Well, when everybody gets separated into their own internet bubbles, that's what we're going to see more and more of, is people can say, like, really ridiculous stuff, like this is a pandemic by the Democrats, because they'll be on the more conservative platforms that only conservatives are on, and there won't be any pushback against that. And then you'll be on the more liberal platforms, and they'll say, well, you know, they didn't really fail. Communism wasn't really a bad idea. We just didn't do it hard enough. We just didn't try. And they won't get pushed back either, and then I'm not sure what comes next. But I know that you end up forming distinct realities. And what will be really weird about those distinct realities is it will just be on the internet. What's happening, in an interesting way, because it's democracy at work, and in a way that's scary, is that the internet has been more and more escaping into real life, and sometimes in ways that are the most obscene thing you can imagine in our society, like live streaming mass shootings on Facebook. Now, that's leaking out of the internet into reality in the most awful and terrible ways. But then you also have a lot of political activism, like AOC, and I think that I just learned about this guy's name's like Count Dankula. It's weird, but the point is he ran for office. You run for office, you got skin in the game. Look at there's like a bunch of these internet spectacle people that are putting their money where their mouth is, which I respect. And so it's almost like it makes me feel better about things, because in a way I feel like it's this generation is kind of growing up and they're putting their money where their mouth is. But then the question becomes, where do they reside? What's their intent? And it's weird because you see the resurgence of a lot of old ideas right now from both sides. Oh, a bloater. Oh, damn, he popped. That's going to be a pain in the ass. In this game, you should have 4 pockets instead of 2. I agree. And bullets in a trunk should stack up to 100. Should be able to do stacks of 100 in trunks. I get why I can only do 30 per pocket, but I do not need to kill these zombies. It'll be interesting to see how it all comes to bear in the next little while. I think ultimately we'll be okay. I think a lot of things are actually really alive and strong right now. And people are all like, oh my god, democracy's fading. You just had a change of government in 2018. Congress changed hands. Party power. You're gonna have the biggest... You're probably gonna have the biggest election turnout in our history. People are more informed. They're more active. They're more engaged across the spectrum than ever before. And when people are like, "Oh, it's all dying," I don't think it's dying. I think it's more alive and robust than ever, and that's a good thing. Maltroff gave me permission to soapbox, so soapbox I continue to do. It's a lot of good shit right here. I think we can actually, let's do it. Let's do it. Temporary outpost. Can't wait to see who will win. Yeah. I've been deliberately trying to avoid at least that one. I think we've done that, and I'll continue to do that one. Considering that's all you can hear if you turn on the TV. We're talking about the Confederate flag and social media. I'll avoid the current election because I think everybody knows or has their own minds made up, and I'm not going to even try to jump into that. Yeah, that's one of those sacred things. I guess I can say one thing about it. Like, I do ask my family, and they ask me, like, hey, you voted? Are you voting? Have you voted? But we don't talk about who we're going to vote for, really. Sometimes we do, but not really. And I hate to see when people are, like, voting different ways and they won't talk to one another. Just don't talk about it then. I'm sure my family's probably going to go 50-50. And it's nobody's business but theirs, and we don't talk about it. Just say, you're going to vote? That's your right. It's a private ballot. Do it. I feel really sad about when families are like, "Oh, you voted for George? Well, I voted for Tom, you son of a bitch. How could you?" And to finish it up, I can say that it's one thing that I actually like the current Dem candidate when he talks, and he's asked that question, like, what you gonna do for the other people who don't support you? He tells that story about how when he was in the Senate, he first got to the Senate, and you had this, like, Republican senator arguing with a Democratic senator, and the guy was like, and Joe was, like, really upset because it was going to be the, like, Disabled Americans Act or something, and he's like, how could this guy not support this? This is terrible. And there was a big senior senator, took him into his office, he was, like, the leader at the time, and he's like, what if I told you that that guy saw a clipping in the paper from an orphanage for a young boy, and he was disabled and stuff, and he said he just wanted a home, and that man right there, that Republican you say is evil, went out immediately and adopted him and took him as his own and raised him as his son, and they love him, and they have a disabled son in their family. I said, you're a liar. And he said, well, that is the same person. And he said, don't ever judge a person's intent. Don't ever judge a person's motive. Or sorry. It's, now I sound like him. Don't ever judge their motive. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But the point is that just because a person votes a way, or thinks a certain way, or has a certain philosophy, don't just put them into a box and say, oh, they must be evil, or they must be racist, or oh, they must be prejudiced. People vote and think a lot of different ways. And they all have, and they have an intent. They do have an intent, but their motives are all different. But if their intent is good, then, you know, it's just like, it's a comment that makes me happy because no matter how it turns out, that's what I want to hear. But then I get on Twitter and I get upset because people just don't seem to give a shit. But then I remember it's Twitter. Dude, this area is hell. That didn't kill him. It's tough with a shotgun. Damn, man, these bloaters, we need them bad. What the fuck? I can't see shit through that tree. This game's usually really good with the camera angles, but we have the curbs of impending doom here, so those places are event horizons. They're really bad. Oh, whoops, wrong thing. In daybreak because every second counts, and yet you'll get stuck in an animation. Wait, there's got to be a mission out here. Okay, Reba, good. Let's get Reba in the group. That should get us that last achievement, and we'll call that an episode. Now, the good thing about our topics of conversation so on is, like, one person watches these Let's Plays. So I'm pretty sure is my same-sex a #1 fan. Who I don't think is from the USA. I think they're like Brazilian or something, so it doesn't even matter.
I do not want that bloater to wake up.
I'm gonna try. I don't think we're gonna get it. You gotta sneak up on it. That's a fact. God, these things are a pain in the ass, and I want 100 of them. This guy's gonna get sick again. Anyway, what all we got going on here? Like here. Is that something we need to make? I don't understand. You can random plague items, well I wish there was more. Oh, there we go. We don't have a cook, but we're finally able to do the slow cooker meal. This can take a mod. Hey, wait. Base wide power. Gain pioneering XP. Whatever, fine. It's a cool skill, pioneering. One thing I know I don't want to do though is have my content become that. I've thought about that, and I've rejected it. I don't want that. Like, you know, Destiny is like basically a political streamer. I still love video games. I still want to focus on video games. I think about the stuff, we talk about it, but that's not where I want the content to go. That's not my prerogative to become a political content maker. We're all political, everything's political, but like, yeah, that's not at all where I want the focus to be. I want it to be on video games, ultimately. Play video games and talk about them and make stuff for them. Also, I think when you do that, you really limit yourself. But I don't mean like... See, the problem with talking about that, though, is people think that's like fence sitting. Because of what Booger does. But Booger went ahead and like decided he was going to try it. He wanted the best of both worlds. He wanted to both be able to say to do it while saying he's not one. I also want to know why it is that so many of the communists on Twitter, and these are legit communists, this is me not just like throwing out assertions, are furries. Do they like think furries were a thing? In the old USSR? But to be fair, I don't understand the furry thing in general. Commentary. Like, furry somehow became its own socio-economic group. Would you like to dress up in a costume? Have sex? I guess I owe you a paycheck.
Showing up like this. I kind of feel weird about it.
Kind of feel weird about it. Oh, we need cure bad.
That's the last of that.
All right, Reba. Oh, Reba's here. We have like actually a huge group this time. Oh, she's already here. Oh, okay. I guess we're all done. She's burned all our other bridges. I'll gladly take an alcoholic.
Thanks.
But please keep your sweet southern charm, whatever the hell
I'll make it worth your
colloquialisms. Keep it up. Keep up those things I've never heard in my life. Like, don't make mincemeat out of tire irons or liable to get a toothache. So what's worse? Is it better to have the morale bonus, because our morale is good, from -7 for not enough beds, but what do we get for having the luxury beds? Lexi garden, clean toilets. Everybody likes a clean toilet. Maintenance, camp heater. Love to find a fan. Recent plague heart kill. Right. Survivor's guilt for what? Oh, that's just permanent. Where's the luxury beds at? Let's see, like spacious. Everyone. It's a big base. Clean toilets. Routine maintenance. Recent feral kill. It's a plus 15 bonus. Okay. And we have how much off? Probably plenty at this point. We have -21. But there's a morale negative for this. I'm going to convert and we'll see. And then I'm going to remember this. Ultimately, though, how many beds did we have? We were -4. I think you only get 2 when you make an outpost for beds. Just weird, because it's like a whole house. Let's just fill it with beds, Fallout 4 style. We'll end the episode here.